Hello, and welcome to Rory's Brainworks, where we get creative and see if it works. Today, we're not going to be working with a tie. We're actually going to be working on our wellness. I know that's a little bit different than what we usually do on this channel, but I was a massage therapist for 12 years, and it's kind of my thing to put people back together and promote wellness. So how can I use rope bondage, Shibari, and tie that in with wellness? With a girth hitch and a single column tie in the right place, we can stretch out the body. We can place something as a focus point for meditation. Make ourselves feel good. Let those happy brain juices float around our wonderful bodies. But before we get into any of that, we must first talk about safe, sane, and consensual safety. Be sure to have some safety shears with you at all times. You can always get a new rope, can't get a new life. And consensual. Me, Marie, and Crochet Rory are all consenting adults. Communication is key. Now, before we take a deep dive into this wonderful stretching tutorial, we must first thank my sponsor, Erotikk.
Erotikk is an art house rooted in jewelry design, entwining evocative compositions with stunning detail. Their most recent collaboration with legendary Hajime Konoko explores the yin and yang of Shibari, extracting the alluring creative forces deep within all of us. Ample customization, beautiful designs. With Erotikk, you can wear your desires with elegance. At checkout, put in discount code Rory/Erotikk for 10% off.
So I've got some tea. I have my rope. Let's do some stretching, shall we? Let's start with the legs. We can do the quads first. Bite of the rope. Wrap around once. Wrap around twice. It's going to cross over, hold it down in place with that thumb, take the other rope, it's going to go wrapping around the bite of that rope from underneath. I still have this thumb holding down the bite. The bite's going to go underneath. Once you start to pull that tight, the thumb that was holding it down, that was wrapped around, creates a loop right here. We're going to take the bite from underneath, go through that loop, tighten it on both ends. Somerville bowline single column tie. So we currently have the double column tie attached to our ankle right now. We want to make sure that the knottage is where the heel is, because we're going to take the rope, lift it over our shoulder, and pull the rope up until we start getting ourselves a quad stretch. And you can lay the rope over your shoulder when there's enough tension. Now at this point, you go until you start feeling the quad stretch. There we go. If you can get your heel all the way to your glutes and that's not enough, just push your glutes forward. Oh yeah, there we go. Lean forward, push your hips forward, and that'll get the quad stretch in there. We're gonna hold this for about 20 to 30 seconds. That's enough time for the muscle spindle cells to really elongate, to create the stretch. Now muscle spindle cells are at the tendons of our muscles and make sure that we don't overstretch, but also that our tissues aren't shortened too much. They help regulate muscle contractions. They also help prevent hyperextension so you don't damage your muscles. Take back off my shoulder and let it down gently. Stretching helps elongate the spindle cells as well as the muscle fibers. Once you've held it in place for long enough, the muscle spindle cells say, okay, this is the length the muscle should be in, which helps propagate relaxation when you have the muscle in a relaxed state after the stretch. Now at this point, you should do all the stretches with one leg first. That way you're not constantly tying and untying a single column tie on your ankle or wrists or wherever we're gonna end up having them. I mean, unless you wanna use two ropes, by all means. Do that. You'll then look like a marionette, which isn't so bad. Now I'm just thinking of the NSYNC music video, Bye Bye Bye. That's gonna be stuck in my head. To continue utilizing the single column tie around my ankle, we're gonna do a glute stretch. Now glutes always need to be stretched, like always. And it always feels sort of good and sort of painful. It really straddles that boundary. But I assure you, they always need to be stretched. The glutes do a lot of work, and they don't get enough love. I mean, some don't. Others definitely do. All glutes should have equal love. I'm just throwing that out there. And be sure to have your back able to rest up against something when doing the glute stretch. It's gonna make it way easier. Now, something I should bring up along with the stretching, we're gonna be working the core and holding positions for a long time. It's almost like Pilates in a way. You will sweat after this. And it's a hot day, so you'll see me sweating a lot. Enjoy. So we still have this rope around our ankle, the single column tie around our ankle, and we want to position it where the knot is pointing towards us. And this is essentially the position that we want to be in. If you want to rest your leg, you can bring the knee of your other leg up to rest it up. I got one hand here gripping and the other one right here gripping. Gonna wrap around, and you're just gonna pull your leg up towards yourself. Hold it in that position because you'll feel that glute stretch. And you're gonna focus in on your core and holding it in place. This is a good workout. Be sure to hold it there for 20 seconds. If you can't do that, that's perfectly fine. You can use the rope as a guide and then continue lifting your other leg up until it's in the right position. You're then using the rope now as a guide to make sure it stays in place, and also giving a little bit of lift here and there to make sure it gets a good stretch in there. Doesn't that feel great? Yeah. And no. But it needs to be stretched out either way. It feels, the glutes need it. Need it. Oh yeah. If you want to hold it for more than that 20-30 seconds, just wait for that muscle to ease into its new position and release. Go for it. The only thing you need to make sure to do is have it at least over 20 seconds. That's enough time for the muscle spindle cells. Good. Let's do some hamstrings and some calves. Now, admittedly, the only real Shibari that we're using here is the fact that we're using rope to tie, and that we're doing a single column tie, and we'll be doing this girth hitch as well. Now, girth hitch is cinch, and you really shouldn't use that for most of the stretches we're doing because you don't want to cinch into the wrist or into the ankle, especially if you're going to be stretching it out. But for this particular one, the loop is very easy to do and relatively necessary for the area. It's hard to do a single column tie around because it's going to go around the top pad of our foot just below our toes. Now, it's easy to create this girth hitch. All you have to do is take the bite of your rope, put your fingers into the loop, and then you're basically going to reach down and grab the other rope. You will then create a loop. Just going to pull through that loop. This is going to help us enhance our hamstring and a little bit of the calves. One part of the calves, the gastrocnemius, which is the depth of our calves. The other muscle in the calves, the soleus, is really the width and muscle of our calves. Put those two muscles together and it's called the triceps surae. Ooh, fancy name. So, a hamstring stretch. Everyone knows how to do this, and it hurts and always sucks. Hamstring stretches are never fun. People who like hamstring stretches are weird. If you're one of those weird people, I appreciate you. That's essentially having one of your legs straight and moving your body, your hips, with a hand as a guide toward your foot. Now, why do we have this? We're gonna have that around the pad of our foot. I'm gonna tighten it down a little bit, just below the toesies, and have it right there. Now, not only is this rope gonna help us pull forward towards the hip, but it's gonna bring the foot back. And when you bring that foot back, you can feel it right here in your knee, just below it. The bicep of the gastrocnemius has its attachment points near the femur, above the knee. And that's mostly where the tendons is. The belly of the muscle starts just below the knee, which is where you're gonna feel this stretch. So if you want to separate that hamstring from that gastroc stretch, another note, always make sure to have your leg firmly planted and that your knee does not bend during the hamstring stretch. So you can grab down here, pull forward to get that hamstring stretch, and if you want to enhance it, you pull on that rope, pull your foot back. We're gonna hold that there. That's the good stuff. That's what we're all here for. The miracle of seeing me in pain. That's what everyone wants to be here for. Have you watched Rory's new stretching video? He's in a lot of pain most of it. You should stretch more. Yes, I should. We all should. Me definitely so.
I'm starting to feel the stretch alleviate. It's becoming less of a burden now, which means that I could dig in further with my hip, move towards my foot a little bit more, and I can pull the foot a little bit more. Oh, goodness gracious me. That's good stuff. That's some wholesome torture right there. Now we can actually keep the loop here just like that. Now this is the alternative. If you don't feel like sitting down for the hamstring and glute stretch, you can plant your heel down, kind of like you're about to do a bow. You're gonna lean forward down towards your foot with your hip, making sure that you keep this knee straight. You can feel the hamstring stretch as you're pushing yourself down towards your foot. And then if you want to enhance it with a gastroc, you pull your toes backwards up towards you. Oh God, I'm doing it again. Oh. That's some good stuff. Now I wanted to make these videos in order to help people have a more positive balance with rope. People have had bad experiences, and this will help you have a deeper connection and a greater appreciation for the rope, especially one where you're in control and it's helping you feel better, promoting that wellness. For those who are nervous about rope bondage and shibari, it is important to kindle a relationship that shows that it's something to be enjoyed. So let's do a little meditation real quick before we start our stretching to help ground ourselves. Now, how do we do that with the rope? How does one meditate with rope? Well, we're going to give it a spot of focus for our mind. So I'm going to take the bite of my rope, the middle of my rope, I'm going to wrap it around my chest and create a girth hitch. So we're just going to send our rope through the bite. Now you can either do this below the pecs or just above the pecs, whichever you prefer. I prefer below the pecs because I feel it affects the diaphragm more to where I can focus on it. Now, you can see where our bite of our rope is. We're going to go the opposite direction in order to create that tightness. Now put it as tight as you want it, because while we're doing our breathing exercises with meditation, we want to have enough restriction where it's not difficult to breathe, but also enough restriction to know we have something here. And it gives us a place to focus our thoughts and focus our mind. As we take our deep breaths in and out, we can focus on the rope that's around us, the sensations it's giving us. So we're going to continue wrapping around here. Probably got one more rotation. Cool. Once I'm all the way around, I'm going to reach underneath and pull this rope mostly through. I'm going to keep a loopy right here, and I'm going to set this rope going through it, creating another loop. And then I'm going to pull for the side that doesn't have the tails, doesn't have the ends, until that tightens. Basically, that's creating a quick release for us. Now with the tail ends, we got this other loop. We can just put those through there for the time being. That way, when we need to, put the tails back through, and then pull to quick release. So let's do that again. Got the ropes back here. Gonna have them go underneath, just enough to make a loop. Pull that down a little bit. Gonna take the tail ends here. We're gonna stuff that into that loop. Cool. We're gonna pull from the side that's not the tail end. Tighten that down. And then take the tails and put them through that loop. Tighten that down a little bit. Cool. I have this diaphragm binder now. That's going to create sensation as I breathe in and out. As deep of breaths as you want or can do. 4-second inhales, 4-second exhales. That's usually pretty good. Not everyone can get there. It's okay if you don't. So just close your eyes and focus in on that rope. Take in as deep of breaths as you can get full, and just pay attention to the binding. Pay attention to how that rope is pushing down on your chest. And it's not something bad. It's not an inhibitor. It's a hug.
It's a comforting feeling. That's what that is to you. You're totally in control. That rope right now, at that full extent of your inhale, is not an enemy. It's a friend with a nice embrace. Do that for as long as you want. Enjoy it for as long as you want. Now, for the sake of brevity and this video, I can't do that for as long as I would have wanted, which would have been probably 20 minutes or so. Rory likes his meditation.
So the time already? We only did the leg stretches. All right, so this will be a two-parter. Part one was some of the basic leg stretches you can do with Shibari. Next, we'll do some arm, torso stretches. We'll see you then. Well, hey, I hope you had as much fun learning from that tutorial and feeling good as we did teaching it to you. I think she was out there trying to utilize some of the techniques I was teaching to stretch her pecs. Yeah, I anticipate a full breaking sound coming soon, and I'm gonna have to fix it as per usual. Well, I would be remiss if I did not bring up my other lovely sponsors for today, the wonderful people over at Patreon. That's patreon.com/Rory's Brainworks, just like this YouTube channel. They are my rope vanguard, my colonizers of dreams, and without them, these ropey endeavors would be way harder to accomplish. Thank you for spending your time with me. Be sure to like this video, subscribe to this madness, and comment down below what kind of roboty things you would like us to teach you. As always, I'm Rory. This is our brain. I'm fairly certain it works. Be safe and go create some art.